just in. The UN has started a discussion creating a terrorism task force and awareness plan. This following yet another attack from Al-Qaeda. Will the terrorism ever stop? Wait, we bring you live footage from the UN.
There are terrorist groups all over the world causing mass destruction and mass murder. One main terrorist group is Al-Qaeda, and it has not only caused problems for MDCs such as the US, but LDCs from where the branches are located.
I agree with you. They've attacked MDCs very often, wreaking havoc on the civilians and causing them to have fear. But also, home in their less developed countries, they've put fear into the civilians that live there because they fear standing up to the terrorist groups because of the executions that they've
carried out.
Yes.
Well, there's not only groups such as Al-Qaeda in the world, there's branches of Al-Qaeda, and then there's also the copycats of Al-Qaeda, such as ISIS, who's causing mass destruction and even more murder now that they have their own group.
Yes, and Al-Qaeda supported ISIS for a long time, up until the execution of the Jordanian pilot. This leads to mass destruction when terrorist groups are working together. This leads to more people working towards the terror of civilians.
Well, I understand that, but how do you think we put in a plan to stop or raise awareness of terrorism for our kids today?
It would require military action, but we do not want to cause mass disruption in the areas that the terrorists are located because there are a large civilian population where they stay. They use this because they know that the US and other countries will not attack civilians.
So we know that we need a plan to raise awareness of terrorism. But what could one of those plans be?
How do you suggest we combat terrorism without causing more violence in the Middle East?
I think we should raise awareness through social media and young adults. We could make social media pages to help raise awareness. We could introduce terrorism awareness months, or we could employ Peace Corps to places affected by terrorism. We could make commercials or public service announcements that talk about terrorism and shows how people are treated by terrorist groups. We could create websites about terrorism to inform the youth, or we could get testimonials from famous celebrities to influence the young adults.
That plan is great and all, but what if we need military action?
Well, we could impose sanctions or suppliers of nuclear technology to terrorist states. We could impose diplomatic, economic, and military sanctions on terrorist states themselves. We could neutralize terrorist enclaves, freeze financial assets in the west of terrorist regimes or organizations, share intelligence, revise legislation to enable greater surveillance and action against organizations inciting to violence subject to periodic renewal, actively pursue terrorists, do not release jailed terrorists, train special forces to fight terrorism, and most importantly, educate the public.
Thank you for your input on the plan against terrorism.
No problem, glad I could help.
That was a great plan, but we need the collaboration of almost every country to make this plan carry through.
Yes, we could use the NATO, which has been steadily expanding since the fall of communism, to create a core for the military action of this plan. We would need to attack not only the Al-Qaeda and the other terrorist groups of the Middle East, but the terrorist groups around the world, terrorizing many countries, to help prevent it from occurring in the future.
We would not only have to collaborate with the military, we'd have to collaborate economically and politically to make sure we could do this.
Yes, we would need countries to close borders of movement of troops and military supplies for these terrorist groups, and freeze the funds of terrorist leaders, which often infiltrate the government, from supplying them with economic and political gain and accessibility.
You have now seen firsthand another historical event at the UN. That's it for today's newscast. Channel 6, out.